For our first speech tonight, we have Bill Wright to read the objectives for Halia Osadca.
Madam Toastmaster, Halia is speaking from the special occasion speeches, and it's speech number 2, speaking in praise. The objectives are to prepare a speech praising or honoring someone, living or dead, to address 5 areas concerning the individual and his or her accomplishments, to include anecdotes illustrating points within the speech. Mr. Timer, it's 5 to 7 minutes.
Halia Osadca has been a member of Toastmasters for 2.5 years. She recently retired from teaching. Active in Canada theatre on and off stage. She likes to undress the actors of it.
Nice.
She's planning a trip.
It's a job we do.
Okay.
And how do you get the job?
She's planning a trip to Costa Rica in February to see the rainforest. The speech title is Speaking in Promise of her deceased mother. Title, oh, thank you, Mom. The book is Speaking in...
They're speaking in praise.
Speaking in praise. See, it looks like promise here. So thank you, Mama. Halia Osadca.
Oh, we lost our word here. I don't think we need to.
Oh, and that was on the camera.
Oh, that's fine. I'll look at the computer.
16.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, next month, my mother would have turned 100 years old. So I knew this was the perfect time to reflect on her life and legacy. Unfortunately, her life was cut short at the age of 56. Yes, at the age of 56, she battled cancer for 7 months, but lost the battle. I was only 19 at the time, and an only child. Children who have no brothers or sisters tend to be very close to their parents and form a very special bond. How lucky I was to have had such a wonderful mother in my life. You ask, what made her so special? Allow me to share some memories. Her entire life revolved around giving and not receiving. Not giving materialistically, no, but giving love, time, support, attention, and encouragement. She touched many lives. Her life was devoted to many causes. Besides being a wife and a mother, she was also a teacher and a principal in several schools. Her teaching career started in Ukraine, where she was born and raised. When World War II broke out eventually, she ended up in Germany, then in England. It was in England that she met my father, who was also from Ukraine. It was in England that I was born. My mother was 36 at the time, and my father was 40. Since there were many Ukrainian families living in England who had also immigrated, my mother saw the need to set up a Ukrainian school where Ukrainian language, history, geography, literature, and culture would be taught. These language schools were in addition to regular day schools. Students would attend on Saturday mornings or 2 evenings during the week. We lived in Kidderminster, England, a few hours from Birmingham. The school grew in popularity over the years. However, my father was a mechanical engineer, and his opportunities for working in his field were difficult in England. So it was that when I was 7, my mother did what was the best thing for the family, and we, as a family, immigrated to Canada. Eventually, we settled in Winnipeg, where my mother again saw the need for a strong Ukrainian school for children of the many Ukrainian families. There were several such small Ukrainian schools in Winnipeg. My mother began teaching in one of those schools and was quickly chosen to be the principal of the school. Within a few years, this school was the largest and most popular one in the city. Parents knew that at the UNF school, Ukrainian National Federation School, their child would receive the best curriculum, teachers, and culture. The school put on many plays and concerts where the students would act, sing, dance, and play instruments. The school had students from kindergarten to high school. Also, my mother found the time to be the president of the Ukrainian Women's Organization. This is a charitable organization which hosted events with speakers, put on teas and bazaars, all of which were so popular in those days. She was involved in other clubs and organizations besides this. How she found the time to keep a tidy home, be an incredible gardener, her flowers were admired by many, entertain, and cook everything from scratch, I do not know. Her culinary skills were admired by all who tasted her excellent baking, soups, appetizers, and homemade delicious meals. Mama would bake several European torts for company. Each one was a work of art. I would sneak into the cold storage room, cut a small piece of the torte, or take several big gobs of the scrumptious butter icing from the beautifully decorated desserts. I would try to cover it all up somehow so my mother wouldn't notice. But the next morning, I would hear her calling, Halia! She just wanted me to own up to what I had done. We both laughed. She knew I had a sweet tooth, and I knew she had a sense of humor. Yet, my mother always made time to spend with her dear family. My father and I were the world to her. In the summer, we would often rent a cottage at Whiteshell Provincial Park and spend time fishing, swimming, picking blueberries, and relaxing. I was allowed to bring a friend for that week who was treated like a family member. My mother and I were good friends who would sit and talk for hours. I tried to find the time to help her with some baking and gardening. She taught by example. As I became, though, more of a teenager, I naturally rebelled and sometimes thought she was old-fashioned. There were times my mother and I did not see eye to eye, but she always understood me and showed tremendous love and patience. Her funeral was one of the biggest funerals that Winnipeg had witnessed. Most of her students, the women's organization, the Ukrainian community, and many friends attended. It was overwhelming. Many spoke of her legacy and inspiration as a teacher, principal, and community volunteer. To me and my father, she was the sunshine in our life. It was as if huge clouds appeared and the wind was taken out of our sails. Life would never be the same without my incredible mother. Since I had no brothers or sisters, it was that much more difficult. My mother did not have the chance to see her only child graduate from university, get married, or meet her two grandchildren. She did not see that her daughter ended up following in her footsteps by becoming a teacher. She was my inspiration. I now know that my mother has been watching over me and somehow is always with me. Thank you, Mama. I love you.
Thank you very much for such a touching and well put together speech. It was very well worthwhile listening to Halia.